Earlier this week, Elon Musk said that he disagreed with the Biden administration's plan for electric car incentives in America. And he thinks that all incentives should be removed. That includes incentives for oil, though. GM's CEO Mary Barra has responded to Elon's claims, and this is what she had to say. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to see so many new subscribers come on board recently. Big welcome to all the new subscribers and welcome back to everyone else. Now, if you don't know, we've made about 700 plus videos over the last 6 months alone. So make sure you check out some of those videos. And if you want to, you can support the channel. We have a Patreon account. I'll put a link in the description below. Now, here's the main point. If you don't want to watch all the video, Mary Barra says that government incentives may increase EV adoption. Yes, I agree. They probably will. Now, critics say that if you incentivize the purchase of EVs, then car manufacturers simply increase the price and profit the difference themselves. I don't actually agree with that. If you have a look at the market in China, you can see that incentives are working very, very, very well. Stephen Loveday reports for Inside EVs that General Motors CEO Mary Barra reiterated this week that the automaker intends to launch electric cars at different price points to appeal to all different buyers. Now, I just made a video yesterday about GM's new Chevy Silverado electric vehicle and a timeline on when that will be built. I'll put a link in the description below to that vehicle. Now, obviously, GM is planning on making a whole lot of different EVs for different buyers, which I think is a good strategy. Now, specifically, General Motors is starting its EV initiative with the very, very expensive GMC Hummer EV. Costs about $120,000 in the first edition version, which is out right now. And also the Cadillac Lyriq, which sold out in about 18 minutes in America. I'll put a link in the description below to that video too. It will also produce an electric compact crossover with a sub $30,000 price tag. Now, it remains to be seen if that will actually happen. I'm a little bit skeptical that it will happen soon. And I think by the time it does, maybe this inflation we're seeing in America will probably increase that price more than likely. But still, either way, they definitely plan to bring out an affordable crossover, which will probably be close to being on par with their ICE vehicles, which will be very, very impressive. Now, let's just be real here for a minute. Mary Barra, I don't know what's going through her head. She's been saying some mentally crazy things lately that have made me seriously question her mental sanity, like claiming that General Motors is leading in terms of electrification. Obviously, they're nowhere near that, and how she could seriously believe that and claim that over and over in the media is frankly puzzling to me. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. But hey, what she's saying here, I actually agree with her for a change. She believes that government incentives and subsidies could push EV adoption forward. I agree, it will. And especially when it comes to the less expensive electric cars that GM plans to sell in the future. Now, obviously, if you can get, say, a $10,000 incentive for a car that costs $35,000, bringing it down to $25,000, that will make an enormous difference for many middle Americans. Huge numbers of people who can afford cars like that, whereas the majority of people can't afford a Hummer electric vehicle Edition 1. And realistically, how much difference does it make to them anyway? I mean, if you're paying $120,000 for a vehicle and it brings it down to $110,000, well, that's just nothing really. It doesn't make a difference. So where it makes the difference is for the average American who can't spend a lot of money on a car. And that is where it will matter the most. That is where vehicles will be changed the most. Most people buy cars in that kind of price range. So therefore, those people will be more likely to change vehicles. And seeing as they're the majority of the population, the majority of the market, I think it will make a big difference. Now, as Automotive News suggests, today's electric vehicle startups are tending to focus on high-end luxury electric cars. Unless you're in China, where there is many different electric vehicle startups focusing on all different segments in the range. There's quite a lot of them focusing on the lower end, actually. But yes, in America in particular, the startups are focusing on higher end cars, and the same in Europe as well. Meanwhile, General Motors just announced an upcoming Chevrolet Equinox-sized electric SUV that may work to appeal to the masses. Absolutely. If they can bring this out at, even if it's $5,000 more than they claim, $30,000, even if it comes out at $35,000, and it comes with, say, a $10,000 incentive, bringing it down to $25,000, That's a game changer. That's going to appeal to so many, probably millions and millions of people. Now, companies like Lucid and Rivian have launched luxury EVs right now. And Tesla has a mix of, well, mostly expensive vehicles. Obviously, prices have been increasing because their demand has been so great. I think they'll bring those prices down again if demand goes down a bit. Now, as well as one that's relatively affordable compared to current electric car rivals. Obviously, the Tesla Model 3 is, I wouldn't say affordable, but it's more affordable than their other options. That's true. Now, it's important to note, Mary Barra wasn't making any specific references to the Build Back Better bill's potential language. She didn't comment on the union stipulation at all. We already know that she agrees with the union funding. She's part of the union. She's tried to back that. Obviously, Mary Barra doesn't want to talk about Tesla, doesn't like Tesla, wants to exclude them from being involved in any electric car discussions. I don't agree with that. I think inclusiveness here is the right way. Get everyone involved, acknowledge everyone. Don't try and hide people because they're not part of your union. I'm not a fan of that. Unions, that's fine. But trying to exclude people because they're not a part of your union, I think that's not a good strategy. But realistically, she wasn't referencing her comments towards what Elon Musk said. Although I do believe, if we have some context here, the question was asked in the context of Elon Musk making his comments. However, Mary Barra was simply providing her own perspective on the need for electric vehicle subsidies, as well as their potential worth to the market and in terms of pushing electric cars forward. Now, Barra agrees with me. She said it's the shoppers looking at a $30,000 electric vehicle that will benefit the most from government incentives. She explained in reference to accelerating EV adoption. This is what she said. Do those individuals need that support to make the transition? I think it's reasonable if you're trying to accelerate. That's their only vehicle and they depend on it. If they don't get to work, it impacts their livelihood. Reaching that customer is where you're really going to get scale. And I'm very proud that at General Motors we do that with the Chevrolet brand across the board, from trucks to the crossovers to smaller vehicles. Now, it's yet to be seen whether or not General Motors will actually offer this affordable EV. But you have to admit, they are doing it now, even though they're not manufacturing the Bolt EV or the Bolt EUV at the moment. I mean, that was not intentional on their behalf. They have been trying to offer an affordable electric car with the Bolt. So you've got to give General Motors credit there for doing that. In January, General Motors will take to CES to better explain its electric vehicle portfolio. And of course, to release images and potentially the car itself, the new electric Silverado, which will be a huge seller for the company. More specifically, it stands to clear up the timing of upcoming launches of new electric vehicles. Keep in mind though, the automaker has grand plans to bring 30 new electric vehicles to market across the globe by 2025. Now, when it comes to bringing 30 vehicles to market within the next 3 years, I believe that is an enormous mistake from General Motors. I've talked about this in the past. Volkswagen is doing something similar. They're bringing out 70-something models. But that said, Volkswagen does have a huge number of brands. Audi, Skoda, Seat, obviously Volkswagen themselves, Porsche. They've got a bunch of different brands. Whereas General Motors is just talking about bringing out 30 vehicles within 3 years, 30 different vehicles. I believe that that is a very, very unwise decision. I just think you're trying to build mass market EVs, right? And you're going to build, what, 30 different production lines? How many different factories do you need to build 30 different vehicles? I just don't see why they should do that. I think it'd be better to simplify it, bring that down to 10 models, 10 core models, do those models really well, try to cut costs on those 10. When I say cut costs, don't cut costs on quality, but bring the price down by using efficient manufacturing. For 10 models, to me, that would be the wise way to go. Having 30 models, it seems to me to be, it's just like a marketing tactic. Let's just say we've got 1 million models. Everyone will think we're great. That's the way I'm seeing that. But I could be wrong. Let me know what you think about this strategy to have 30 models, 30 new electric car models in only the next 3 years. That's quite aggressive. Now, Barra noted that General Motors is working as fast as it can, and its upcoming gamut of EV launches will change the game, she added. The Silverado EV is really going to educate people on what you can do with an electric truck when you have an electric truck platform. You know, this electric truck market is going to be very interesting in a year or two from now when you've got the Silverado, the F-150 electric Lightning pickup, Rivian as electric pickup, the Cybertruck. I think GMC are going to have an electric pickup as well. Then you've got potentially some other Chinese makers bringing electric pickups. Obviously, we've got another Foxconn potentially building an electric pickup in America as well. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in that electric truck pickup market. I made a video about that too recently. I'll put a link in the description below to that video where I talk about the new Silverado electric pickup truck. Now tell me, do you agree with Mary Barra here? Do you think she's right? Do you think EV incentives are a good thing or a bad thing? Let me know in the comments section below. As ever, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.